In this video, I'm going to share with you the exact training split that helped me to break past that intermediate phase of training that you're stuck at right now. So, for years and years, I trained exactly how you are right now. I followed these generic intermediate programs like 5-3-1, 5x5, Texas Method, and stuff like that. I spent hours and hours following fitness influencers on YouTube and Instagram, and they all gave me such conflicting advice. Like one guy's saying this, another guy's saying this, and what they're teaching, they're not actually doing. And it gave me analysis paralysis, and I just was overthinking all the time, and I didn't really know what to do. And because of that, I spent years and years like not really getting much stronger, not getting bigger. I felt like I was putting in so much effort but not really making progress. And if I even tried to put like an extra 2.5 kilos on the bar, I'd end up failing reps. I felt beat up all the time and I just didn't really enjoy my training, and I felt like not even going to the gym. So in this video, I'm going to tell you the exact training program that I use to now get to the point where I can hit PRs on a regular basis. I've hit some lifetime goals in the gym. It's got me in the best shape of my life, and I feel like I'm actually enjoying my training and have a clear path towards my goals. So let's get into it. If you want access to the full training program, all of the sets, reps, volume, intensity, and stuff like that, click the top link in the description and you'll get access immediately to the program. So I've been coaching and training for 10 plus years, and this is the training program that I've seen the best results with across the board. I'm going to put the program on screen, the split. This is a 4-day split focused on strength and hypertrophy. Our goal here is to get as strong as possible at the main lifts and to build a jacked aesthetic physique and to look like we lift. So the split is 4 days plus additional bodybuilding accessories. The program is set up squat, bench, deadlift, bench, and then squat, bench, deadlift, bench again in the second half of the week. This program has been carefully created based on how I've seen people respond, how I've responded to training, actual scientific research and stuff like that. So let's get into the actual split. So day one is going to be your primary squat and bench press day. So basically what that means is this is your highest priority squat and bench press of the week. These are the ones that we're really focused on adding weight, getting as strong as possible. So if you're a low bar squatter, this will be your primary low bar squat. So first then we start off with the squat. And this is going to be programmed using a top set back off approach. So you can see some examples of that in other videos. I'll put one on screen. But basically what that means is we're going to work up to a top set of 1 to 3 reps at RPE 5 to 9. If you don't know what RPE is, it's basically a 1 through 10 scale where a 10 would be failure. RPE 9 means you've got 1 rep in reserve. RPE 8 means you've got 2 reps left in reserve, and so on. We're going to do that top triple, aiming to add weight to it each week. And through the training block, it will get progressively more difficult. So week 1, it might be RPE 5, RPE 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we repeat that process again. Maybe block 1 was triples, block 2 is doubles, and block 3 is singles, as an example, okay? Then we're going to do some lighter back down work in the 60 to 75% range for like 4 to 6 sets of 4 to 6 reps. That's where we get our stimulus and we accumulate strength gains and adaptations. So that's how we're going to do the primary squat. We're going to do the same thing for the bench press. And again, if you want to see the full sets and reps and everything, click that top link and you'll be able to see it. So we've got the same top set back off approach for the squat and the bench. Then we've got a horizontal push accessory. So this is to grow the pecs, the delts and the triceps, to build your physique and to build a stronger bench. So this horizontal push accessory is anything pressing in this plane. So it could be a chest press machine, it could be a Smith machine press, it could be a flat dumbbell press, anything that you feel well suited to and you can get stronger at long term. Session 2 is going to be your primary deadlift day. So again, we're going to be using a top set back off approach for the deadlift. That's our main priority deadlift for the week. Then we're going to do a secondary bench press, which the exact programming of this depends on the individual. But in general, I want you to view it like this. Secondary lifts are going to be how it sounds, secondary priority. So they'll be similar to the main lift. But they might be a little bit lighter, a slightly different rep scheme, volume and intensity to manage fatigue and to keep the stimulus going. So you can view it like primary is the heaviest and most specific. Secondary is slightly less heavy, slightly less specific. Tertiary, again, slightly less heavy, slightly less specific, and so on. So a secondary bench, as an example, it could be something like a volume focused bench. So maybe like sets of 5, sets of 6 or something like that, right? Then we're going to be doing a squat accessory. And in general, this is going to be like a squat-based machine. So something to apply some extra stress to the legs without fatiguing your lower back. So that might be a leg press, it might be a bout squat, it could even be a single leg or like a hack squat or something like that. Basically, we want to do more of the squat pattern while not fatiguing the back. For some of you, if you're not a naturally gifted squatter, you could add in an extra barbell squat here. And I discussed an example in this squat video here, but it could be like a high bar squat for a couple sets of 6 if you're not a great squatter and you want to squat 3 times a week. So consider that as well. Then we're going to take a rest day. Then session 3 is going to be your secondary squat day. So for a secondary squat, like I said, it's going to be quite specific to the primary lift. So let's say your primary squat is a low bar squat for a top set back off. Your secondary squat might be the low bar squat for some reps. It might be sets of 4, sets of 5, or we might use a variation to target a weak point. So let's say you're not very confident at the bottom of your squat. Your depth isn't great, your balance is a little bit off. Maybe we'll use a 2-count pause squat. So you squat down, you pause for a 2-count, and you come back up. That could be beneficial for you because it solves the technique weakness and is going to allow you to get better at squatting and get stronger long term. It could be a pin squat, a tempo squat. Hopefully this has given you some ideas of how you can kind of set this up for yourself. Then we're going to do another bench press. This is probably going to be a secondary or a tertiary bench press. If it's a tertiary bench press, like a lighter bench, it might be something like a feet up bench, a close grip bench, even an incline bench. Again, just something to deliver more stress, but lighter than the primary lift. Then we're going to be doing a vertical push accessory. So that could be a dumbbell shoulder press. It could be a shoulder press machine. Basically to cover all of our bases, to train the delts in all different directions, and to accumulate more upper body muscle. And hopefully you can see how the program is kind of covering all these different bases. Day number 4, the final day of the program, is going to be your secondary deadlift day. So again, similar to the secondary squat, this is going to be something that is specific to the deadlift, but lighter. Now, how light and how different depends on the individual. If you're someone who right now you're deadlifting 1 time a week and you've only ever really deadlifted once a week, I would recommend that in this slot you do something that is fairly light, like an RDL, a stiff leg deadlift, maybe even even a hip thrust could be appropriate here. But if you're only deadlifting once a week, choose something a little bit lighter. I would like an RDL that's like for sets of 6 to 8 reps. I think that would be really good to ease you into twice a week deadlifting. If you're comfortable with deadlifting twice a week and you feel like that would be beneficial, and that's what I did personally for years, I would choose something fairly specific. So I'd do either a regular deadlift again for some volume, like some sets of 4, 5, 6 or something like that. Or I would use a variation that targets a weak point again. Like a pause deadlift is great for reinforcing good position off the floor. You might do a deficit deadlift to get some extra range of motion and build a bit of velocity off the ground. You might even use a opposite stance deadlift. So if you're a sumo deadlifter, maybe use conventional and vice versa. I think that's a really good way to go about it. New flavor, by the way. This one's a solid 8 out of 10. But yeah, so you've got your secondary deadlift. Again, we're going to do a bench press. Now, if you're watching this and you are only ever used to benching once or twice a week, I would probably fill this day 4 bench press slot with something that is lighter. So maybe we do a flat dumbbell press or a tempo bench or an incline bench, something that's not too specific to the bench press and too heavy, because what I don't want you to do is jump from once or twice a week benching all the way up to 4 times. That's quite a big jump. It's a big increase in stress and it might not be appropriate for you. So be smart with it. If you're benching once or twice a week, don't jump straight up to 4. Be intelligent with how you program it, okay, with your exercise selection. Then we're going to finish up day 4 with a deadlift or squat accessory. I've put the option of both because it depends on the person. I personally have quite a strong deadlift and my squat isn't great, so I used to do a squat accessory here, so something like a leg extension or a single leg variation, just to grow my quads because they were lagging a bit behind compared to my hamstrings and back and stuff like that. For you, maybe you're a better squatter and you want to do a deadlift variation here. You could do something like a hamstring curl, a back extension, something like that, right? And hopefully this has given you some ideas for how you can individualize this program for yourself. Now, this is the core of the program. These are the 4 strength training sessions that are going to get you super strong. They will also get you jacked as well because there is a lot of volume here. But like I mentioned before, a big downfall of these intermediate programs is that they don't have structured bodybuilding work that's going to build you an aesthetic physique. My program has a list of extra accessories. So I'm going to put that on screen. And basically, we have a list of bodybuilding work that needs to be checked off at some point by the end of your training week. So you've got two options here. You can either do these accessories on your rest days. So let's say you do the program Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. You might do your accessories on a Wednesday and a Saturday, like your off days, for example. Option two, you might do these accessories at the end of your training days. So you might put two of them on Monday, two of them on Tuesday, and so forth. Just depends which one suits your schedule. For me personally, I've done both, and I think there's benefits to both. Like, I really like doing it on a rest day because my energy was better, but I also like doing them at the end of sessions because it meant I had an extra rest day. So just play around with it and see what suits you. But this list of bodybuilding is going to cover all of our bases. So we're going to be training vertical pulls, horizontal pulls. We're going to be training the delts in all different planes. We're going to be training the arms and stuff like that. So we're going to cover all of the major muscle groups to make sure that you're building a good looking physique whilst getting stronger on the main lifts as well. The kind of programming behind this bodybuilding, it's going to be mostly 2 to 4 sets of 5 to 10 reps at RPE 7 to 10. Now, I want the focus here to be on beating the logbook every training session. So I want you to go in with the intent of getting super strong at this bodybuilding, adding weight whenever you can, ideally every session. So if you do curls on week 1 with 10 kilos, I want you pushing for 12 kilos or 11 kilos or something on week 2, right? Really think about beating the logbook every time. Don't obsess over the pump, the burn, the squeeze, the stretch. That stuff, it's gimmicky bullshit that influencers have told you is going to get you big, and it won't. They get big off it because they're genetic freaks or they're on gear. You need to progressively overload and lift more weight over time. I promise you, if you take your bicep curls from 5 kilos up to 20 kilos in 6 months, your biceps are going to be bigger, all right? So invest your time in a more efficient way. Get super strong at them. Now, just overall for the intensity and like the structure of the programming, the main lifts are going to be trained, like I said, top set back off approach. Secondaries are going to be top set back off, or we're going to use some ascending rep schemes. So like, for example, you might do a top set of 4 reps at RPE 5, 4 reps at RPE 6, 4 reps at RPE 7, and then drop some weight off the bar. The main work is done for strength. And then this bodybuilding work is done to maximize hypertrophy. So close to failure, really pushing things hard, trying to progressively overload and focusing on mechanical tension. So now you know the training split. Let me give you some guidelines on how to actually go and run this program. Like, how do you use it? How do you add weight? Like, how do you use it basically? So go and run this split. And you've got the layout, you've got the structure of the split. Play around with it, fill in the exercises, choose what you want to actually do. If you want to know exactly what to do, like I said, click the top link in the description. It will give you access to the full program. If not, that's cool. Go and run it yourself as well. You'll still see good results. But I would go run it for a block. Now, how long is a block? Depends on the person, but in general, it's going to be somewhere around 4 to 6 weeks. And to determine the length of your block, what you need to do is you need to run this program for a week. And then each week you need to try and add weight to your top sets on the primary lifts. So primary squat, bench, deadlift, I want you to try and add weight to those every single week, okay? So if on week 1 you squat 140 kilos, the next week I want you to aim for like 145 to 150. In general, I would recommend that you try and add 5 to 15 kilos per week on your squats and your deadlifts. On your bench press, I recommend that you try and add 2.5 to 7.5 kilos, okay? Try and add that every single week. Once you hit a point where you're no longer able to add weight to the bar, that's when your block ends. So to give you an example, let's say from week 1 to week 2, you add weight. You add weight to week 3, to week 4, to week 5. Week 6 comes and you flop a little bit and you can't add weight to the bar anymore. Your block ends on week 5. Then you start block 2 and you repeat the process for 5 weeks, adding weight. Then you go again. And basically you start the blocks light, end them heavy, and you keep repeating that process. Maybe block 1, you do triples on the main lifts. Block 2, you do doubles. Block 3, you do singles, and then you start back over. And that's how the blocks form these logical sequences where they build upon each other, okay? Then you've got your block length, and you don't really need to deload if you know your block length like this, because if you're using this approach where you start light and end heavy, week 1 automatically serves as a bit of a deload. So if you end on week 5 with a 180 kilo squat and then you start block 2 back down at like 145, 150, you can see how that is automatically a deload. You don't need to have a structured deload week. Like some of these programs like 531 have you take that entire full deload week or even a week off, which is stupid. So this approach is going to help you to save time and get stronger in a shorter period. So yeah, in terms of progress, add weight to the top sets each week. For the accessories, try and add weight to them every single time you do them, but reset them on every block, okay? So week 1, start light again and end heavy. When should you make changes to the program? I would recommend that you run 1 full training block without any changes at all. Don't change anything. Collect some data, see what you're responding well to, and then when you do block 2, make 1 to 3 changes, maximum 3. Don't make any more than 3, otherwise you'll not know what's working and what isn't, and you'll start to get confused, okay? The way that we design an intelligent training program long term is we start with something, we run it, we collect data, we make small changes, and over time the program, it builds up and evolves around you. This is bottom-up programming, and this is how I coach my clients. We make small changes and the program evolves around the individual rather than trying to force you into a generic training plan that doesn't suit you. Like influencers are trying to sell you these templates that you just go and run, but people respond so differently to training, and unfortunately that just doesn't work long term, which is why you're stuck right now. So yeah, run a block, make small changes, run another block, and the blocks will keep evolving like this over time. I really hope you found this video helpful, and I hope now you've got a training split to go and use and go experiment with. Spend some time at the end of this video adapting this split to suit your needs, and then maybe on Monday you can go ahead and start the split. Again, if you want access to the full program, and this will save you a bunch of time, then go and click the top link in the description. It'll give you everything you need to go and start. If you still would need help, you've got any questions or anything like that, leave a comment in the comment section and I'll get back to you. And yeah, thank you for watching. I really hope this helps you out and saves you a bunch of time in the gym and helps you get super strong and super jacked. I'll catch you on the next video.